Welcome back, everyone. We're here for episode 2 of season 2. I'm Ralph.
Sam.
Sunny Beats.
Squeege. It's Squeege. Your name's Squeege.
Squeege.
Squeege show. It's the Squeege. No, it's the bigger
No, it's the
picture.
bigger
Welcome back. We're excited to be here. It's a good day.
What is going on?
Top of the morning.
Toes.
Let's get this shit. Let's get this shit.
We have
Welcome
inside
back to
jokes,
the
and the inside
SCP.
jokes come out here, and you guys don't get them, but you'll end up getting them.
Yeah, one day hopefully.
Not even.
Not even.
Shot.
Let's talk about some current stuff. Yesterday we saw Spider-Man.
That movie was amazing.
Yeah,
was really good.
amazing movie. I love the part when he was like,
All right, Ralph
I didn't see
it,
Spider-Man.
but we're not gonna give any spoilers out or anything. But it was a really good movie.
It was
was
like
awesome.
the most amazing movie. Like it better be #1 movie of the year, or
It will be.
and it goes down as like one of my top ones of all time. Like it was, dude. It was just the nostalgia behind it was crazy.
The visual
That's all
effects
I'll
were
say.
insane too,
I gotta
man.
be careful. Yeah.
Very
The
good.
visual
Yeah.
effects were awesome.
I don't know how Marvel keeps doing it. I really don't.
Money.
the
Disney.
trailer looked good.
I just don't understand how they tie in all these movies to one universe, and that's what blows my fucking mind.
Money.
Don't give too much away.
I'm not just saying.
You just spoiled the whole
Well,
entire
Marvel
movie.
Universe. No, I
You
did
just
not.
spoiled
I did
the
not spoil-
movie.
I did not spoil anything.
What are you doing?
I didn't spoil. I said I love how they tie the universe together.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
I got one word for the
Why?
movie: multiverse.
I bet.
Now you're really giving away shit.
I bet.
Right then.
Well, no, most people know that.
I heard. Yeah, but so yeah, Spider-Man that came out Friday. Roddy Rich's album came out Friday.
That's a great
#1
album.
movie, #1 album.
Ooh.
Same Friday. That's what I think.
Let's talk about the album. a
Roddy
little
Rich
bit.
was good.
Those beats are insane.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that one.
Kenny Beats, insane. The
Yeah.
producers,
But
amazing.
Roddy's just good, man. You know.
Amazing.
But yeah, other current events, nothing.
Well, tonight's we got 2 fight nights tonight. UFC fight night. I don't know which number, but you got Derek Lewis fighting. You got Stephen Thompson. That's really all who I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And then you got the Jake Paul fight, which I actually enjoy watching that. I find it very interesting how far he's come. Like, yeah, I know everyone probably doesn't have the best opinion on Jake Paul, but when it comes to like his hard work, and he went 8 rounds with like, you know, Tyrone Woodley, 3-time UFC champ, 5-time wrestling, something like that.
I think he's on steroids.
Who, Jake Paul?
Jake Paul.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why?
Dude,
He's
his
not even
trainer-
shredded like that.
His
Like,
trainer was previously caught for having one of the athletes on steroids. For the fight, they denied getting tested.
What, BJ Flores?
Yeah.
That guy? Yeah.
He's literally like got like acne, like that's like a bunch of acne all over, and that people think that's from steroids. On the Joe Rogan podcast, they talked about that, and they had you guys know More Plates, More Dates on YouTube.
Yeah.
So Joe Rogan had that guy on, and they were talking about like Jake Paul's like possible steroid use, and he
I wouldn't be surprised.
Conspiracy theories or something.
and it's just like, and if you look at his fight, like so his fight when he fought Deji,
Okay.
and then from a Neeson Gibb, it was pretty close, like in proximity, and Jake Paul looked significantly better. And,
Whatever he's on, and you know what, there's definitely a huge chance he could be on something.
I don't want to accuse, I'm
I'm just saying,
right.
I personally give the guy respect for being able to
no
go into
doubt.
this industry
Yeah.
and go 8 rounds with Tyron Woodley and put these other guys to sleep.
Right.
But, you know, the guys he slept are, you know, they're not boxers. But Tyron Woodley is legit, and
Very.
Tonight we'll find out what
What
happens.
do you
I'm
think?
excited.
Everyone said
I'm
that he
excited.
could have in the last fight. He had the opportunity to knock him out, like with that overhand.
But see,
when-
Tyron Woodley, it was a dogfight. Like,
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley wasn't active enough in the first fight,
Yeah.
but, like, because Jake Paul won by decision. I don't know if you guys watched it. Did you guys watch the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley
I
fight?
saw. I mean, I
didn't
knew
see
the
it.
result. I didn't.
I watched it. Yeah, and like Jake Paul was definitely the better boxer the night.
Yeah.
But Tyron Woodley almost slept him. He literally caught him with this overhand right, I believe, and he went back on the
He
ropes.
phased
And
him.
Jake Paul was like, shit, like he was.
Yeah.
I just think it's rigged. I'm sorry.
Santino,
I think
it
it's
is
so
not
rigged.
rigged.
I think
It
it's
is not
rigged.
rigged.
It's so rigged.
No, it isn't. It's
He is
literally-
so
okay,
rigged.
all right. We gotta move
Jake
on.
Paul's fighting techniques suck.
We'll make
I
a whole
saw-
episode about how it's not rigged.
It's
all right?
terrible.
I understand this industry.
Episode 3,
I'm
Jake
telling
Paul.
you, it is not.
It
rigged.
is so
It
rigged.
is
It's not rigged.
It's not.
I saw
rigged.
that
You think these fighters want their freaking? They want
Dude,
their
money. Do you know how much money they get after
Yeah,
each
but
fight?
yeah, exactly. So why do they have
Like,
to throw it?
I
They
get
don't
my
Money
get
ass
talks.
kicked for
throwing
like
it.
that much money.
They don't
Money
get more money
talks.
Step
for
in the
throwing
ring.
it. Tyron Woodley gets a $500,000 bonus if he sleeps Jake Paul this fight.
Yeah.
A bonus. So you think,
Maybe it's real this time. I don't know.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
it's real this time.
I get you,
Maybe
but
It's
real
rigged
this
until
time.
now.
yeah, it's rigged until now.
Not really.
No,
I saw
know,
Jake
I
Paul
know.
was having like brain issues already. Like
Yeah, I
sleep
saw
and, like,
that too.
memory
about
loss.
that.
So
This
we'll see how long
podcast
he
is
goes.
rigged.
It's his time to
He trains
shine.
hard. I mean, you
Well,
know,
you're getting hit in the head and everything by these
Yeah.
big time boxers, and you just started it.
that was my biggest fear. Like with training very amateurly and stuff like that. That's
put
what
yourself
scares
at
me,
risk,
like,
yeah.
so
You
much.
put
is
yourself at risk.
Head traumas and things like that, and
Yeah.
By the way, in
Gotta
the
keep
future,
the noggin good.
stay tuned, all the fight fans out there. We're gonna get a couple different fight enthusiasts, professional fighters on this podcast. Exciting things to come for real. So stay tuned if you like the fight industry.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll get into the topic. Today we're talking about peace. We're gonna talk about peace within, with the external, how we find it, what it means to us, the feeling, the goal, just in general. What how peaceful life can be, what we're looking for, all these things. So, peace has been a main theme of my life. Like you guys all know, why do we see beauty in my whole kind of like more introvert side? I've really been tapping into like a more reflective and, introverted side that, tries to think about things more simply, simplistic nature, trying to appreciate the small things, meditation, all these things, play a role into peace because, we live in a crazy world, things all over the place, whether it's the media or the bustling civilizations,
You just gotta accept the controllables. You gotta accept controlling the controllables, and just you find peace with that. I know that being an introvert, kind of having time for yourself is probably the best option for you in order to kind of gain a good positive outlook on life. Since I don't know, I have this going on. When you're on edge all the time, when you have the anxiety just flowing through you, and you just have way too much stuff to think about, you don't really act like yourself. You don't really act like your true identity. You kind of act like someone you're not. You kind of act like in survival mode. Instead of surviving, we got to just embrace just what life could throw at us. And that's how I kind of gained peace. And just, when you overthink, it kind of destroys you.
Well, when you overthink, you get emotional,
Exactly.
You get emotional,
You get
and
sensitive.
emotions take over, and you lose that grounding, you lose that sense of yourself, because I try to center, whether it's every other week or by the month or every day if I can.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of just sit back and think, all right, what's really important? What am I worrying about? The anxieties, the stresses, the things that, they matter, but they really don't, and we get too caught up in that sometimes.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
My biggest thing is like when it comes to peace, when I try to narrow things down and understand things full on, I always say balance is the number one key to anything.
Huge. Balance.
50 emotion, 50 head. 50 this, 50 that. Balance is so key to peace.
Yeah.
And so when I at the end of the day go to bed, every day I wake up and I try to just simplify it as this simple. Every day I'm trying to find more peace within myself because I feel like peace is king within, and it can solve so many issues in your life, because at the end of the day, about 98% of the things we face we're our own battle with it. It's our own fight, mentally. So, and obviously that's not the case for everybody, but in most people's lives, I'd say that most of your battles are within yourself.
It's perspective
It's
and how you
perspective,
respond to it, and that's where the peace comes in.
And if you have inner peace, which is like probably something to truly, I believe, to truly find full on inner peace, it would take like a lifetime, But for some people, like I think of like a guru or like a monk of some sort,
Like a sage,
like
yeah.
a sage,
Yeah.
like someone very like everything, it is what it is, and everything will happen, but like a true like fully peaceful version of themselves,
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
The best word of advice that I end up getting for, just anxiety in general is just, planning your day out. When you plan your day out, having a schedule for yourself too, that's probably what really helped me, since, I don't know, making your bed, being all sloppy and everything too, kind of like, even though you might not think it gives you anxiety, it gives you anxiety when you're doing your homework in a really messy room.
It's subconscious anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. So, the best thing for me personally was making a little bit of a schedule, being like, before I go to bed, that's when I start overthinking everything. That's when I I have trouble sleeping sometimes, because I just overthink everything. So my dad actually told me this is just, you wake up, you just got to think, wake up the next day, brush your teeth, make your bed, eat breakfast, go to class, go to practice, do all this other stuff. Kind of create that, because when you have a planned day, kind of like eases you a little bit subconsciously. But at the same time, go with the flow,
Right.
don't overthink anything. but be a little bit structured. Just do the simple things. The simple things will get you to wherever you're going to be at.
That's like exterior peace, kind of like what we were talking about in the intro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like, I feel like exterior peace plays into interior peace. You know, if you have that set
hand in
schedule for
hand,
the
yeah.
day, you know, if you're more organized, then you know you're gonna be more organized internally. You know.
Yeah.
Luigi, I talked to you a while ago about this whole entire subject. You told me some really good advice and everything about this. So you want to explain to the viewers what subconscious thinking is? Just thinking, just internally.
Well,
since you kind of blew my mind with like what you had to say about that.
I've never heard this.
So, I mean, I guess a small understanding that I can say I have about subconscious thinking is sometimes you don't even realize that you're feeling in a very negative or certain way about something because it's subconscious. So let me try to give an example because it's kind of like tricky sometimes.
Like it's festering up inside.
Yes,
almost.
like you
You're
sometimes.
yeah.
So okay, so let's say someone now. I want to just say this before I go on. Anxiety is different for everybody, but at least what I hope to believe some people out there can relate to this, and you know I knew you related to this and whoever. So let's say someone is having a certain type of an anxiety attack, right? Most of the time, they're feeling all fine. Let's say panic attack because that's the proper term, panic attack. So let's say someone out is fine 1 second, and then the next second they're freaking out and they're super anxious and they start hyperventilating and breathing heavy. Which I personally have experienced like a lot of my life and learned how to cope with better and whatnot. But a panic attack, right?
Yeah.
You guys understand basically. And with that, they're like, "Where did this come from? I was fine 2 seconds ago." All that buildup of that strong, to my understanding, that strong emotion that came out and bursted them was subconscious thinking. So subconsciously they were under a bad impression of some sort. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm struggling to
It's
explain
their mind. It was their mind.
It's the
was
mind. It's
doing
like
it.
you don't even realize
Yeah.
that you've been overstressing yourself, overcomplicating things, overthinking because you're fine in the moment till things build up so much that boom, you explode. And that's your subconscious, it has too much negative in it that it explodes.
We talked about environmental factors because I took psychology. It's pretty interesting. Environmental factors, by environmental, I mean, other people you surround yourself with, other factors, other situations you deal with. You explain it to me. It's like, for example, something that you might not think can offend you could actually offend you. You just might not know about it. It's just like, someone calls you a name or something says something you don't like, but, you just brush it off, but it does kind of bug you. You just don't really know yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of all just with that. And when he told me that, I was just like, geez, like my way of
Things build
thinking.
up in your head.
Things build up because, I don't know, just something, just like some stuff going on in my life. Like just moving to a different state, moving to a different house, all that stuff that you might not think will wear you down actually does wear you down.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
you just, having
And that's
a positive
because it's your
outlook on it.
subconscious mind
Exactly.
that it's wearing down and that it's building up in, that you don't even realize it till the second that you explode.
It's interesting,
and you
yeah.
release that emotion, which becomes a panic attack. So that's my understanding of it, but I'm no, psychologist, expert, anything at all. That's just what I've learned in my life is,
Right.
Yeah, that's why I feel like every day, like a daily practice should be like, just taking the time to, maybe either meditate, at a certain point in the day, and kind of just to relieve that stress and prevent that buildup. You know what I mean? Because it was like what you were saying, Luigi. When you have all that buildup, if you don't have a way to get rid of that, to filter that out, it's gonna affect you really negatively. So I feel like everyone should have, and it doesn't even, the practice doesn't necessarily even have to be meditation. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone has a form of of stress release, where they can practice.
That's
whether
a huge
that be
thing.
working
Yeah.
out,
That is huge.
meditation,
I think
playing an instrument, you know what I mean? Anything that makes you feel at peace,
Yeah, people like the word meditate. It doesn't have to be like like it literally just be reflecting in the shower
Or breathing,
breathing, or
Yeah.
like literally the stillness. It's like when you go like watch the trees blow with the wind.
every human being needs a release, and that's
you need
the
that,
bottom line.
You need that grounding. You need that to remind yourself that it is fine. That you can relax, and you don't have to worry about all the uncontrollables. And
Yeah.
that's where the anxiety comes in.
Yeah, for me, like, you know, like the best form of stress release for me is probably working out. But you know, when sometimes you're not gonna be able to just work out. So what I always do, you know, is just take 5 deep breaths. You know, if I'm stressed about school or this or that or my job, just take a moment, take a couple deep breaths, and that immediately I feel like I try to put in my mind the negative energy, like
That's a good
releasing
point.
And Sam,
in each breath, you know.
another one that you might not even realize, or maybe you do. In episode 1, you were talking about how every morning you like to wake up and write in your notebook.
I was just thinking about
and
that.
that
That's
is
another
such a
form of peace.
subconscious form of release, you know,
Yeah.
because you might not even realize in the moment that wow, it feels good writing these things down, but wow, is it going to have a huge effect on finding peace within yourself?
Yeah.
Like seriously, so that's a beautiful thing.
Right.
You get
Something
more
that's-
organized, like
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about, internal, outside, you know.
Right,
Writing helps me.
organization.
Writing helps me because when I get to put my thoughts down, whether it's in poetry, whether it's journaling, whether it's whatever, you know, it's very helpful to, because you sometimes you don't even know what you want to say, you know, and that's when sometimes people snap or people, you know, they make up all these
'Cause
things.
their head's not clear,
They don't
you
even
know.
know what they are trying to, you know, they have no intentionality, and it gets all clustered, you know.
Just to
Peace is a
create-
mindset, you know. Peace is like a way to understand. It's a perspective. It's a mindset. It's a walk in life. It's an intentionality to. It's a lot of it's trust, like we were saying with the sage. To like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But like that's a whole trust thing.
Yeah,
with
to
peace.
build that trust is in my opinion going to be the hardest thing that I will go
It's
through
so
in my
hard.
life. Trying to
And it's a
actually
faith thing.
trust the universe and like things
or
things
God,
around
whatever
me.
it
Yes.
is, because
Like the trust is definitely the hardest part because I feel like people can get on a good schedule and get structured, and that's going to help towards peace because that's going to help align your life in a structured way to make you feel better.
Yep.
You know, going on with everyday life and stuff like that, and you know, feeling more easy. But then to find that inner peace, it's like really just trusting that when it's your time to go, or when bad things happen or good things happen, it was all meant to be.
Right.
Now that's what I feel like I'll struggle with the rest of my life, being able to really trust in the fact of the universe.
You gotta be vulnerable. You gotta be very vulnerable. You can't.
Yeah.
You just gotta let things just go. You gotta let things just release you. You know what I'm saying? When you would just release all the factors that's going on. It could be with breathing. It could be with writing a notebook. It could be waking up, working out. It could be literally anything. You gotta just release all that energy and just let it flow through you for you to like learn it.
That like fits perfectly. I read a book. It was on Bruce Lee's philosophy. I don't like you guys are probably all familiar with Bruce Lee, and his main idea is to be water. You know, to kind of flow.
Calm water.
So it's like we're all gonna get hit with bad situations, with adversity, but it's about how you respond. You know, how you adapt. You know, being water. Because water can adapt to anything. You can put it in a cup, it becomes the cup, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so it's how you respond, to those bad things, and there's kind of a piece to water flowing.
yeah, man, yeah.
Just to create another argument or perspective on this, do you guys think that there's such things as, just bad things of releasing your energy with anxiety and stuff, like
Yes.
kind of
Of
like
course.
using
Oh my God,
other
100%.
things to like help you cope and
yeah.
numb yourself in a way?
I think
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol was probably like the main answer for that everyone's gonna go to.
Right.
It's 100% true. But you could use too much of anything. Like I said, like exercise is my favorite way to release that stress. But you can over exercise. You can you can do too much of anything. So I feel like doing too much of any way to cope of that stress could be a bad thing a bad way of dealing with it. Drugs and alcohol.
Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Before I forget this thought, at what point during doing things to distract you, do you have to just face your problems head on? And you know what I'm saying? Because like you can have all these stress relievers, but at what point do you have to just face that head on?
When you don't have peace.
Right.
I think drugs and alcohol, but even anything that just like is like a sensation to the body or exterior. Like there's a difference between like pleasure and satisfaction, and then like peace and like tranquility.
That's
like,
good. Yeah.
Like happiness and even like pleasure. Those are things you can sense. Peace is a spiritual game. Like you can't take a peace pill or drink peace.
No.
Like that's something you need to find within yourself. You can have peace with the external and control the controllables and trust the process and have faith that everything's happened for a reason. That's something you have to learn.
And people can be
I had to learn that.
whole and peaceful, but
Yeah.
it can always be abrupted.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a
And
constant game you have to play your
Yeah,
whole life,
exactly.
trying to level it out. Because once you reach inner peace, it's not just going to stay like that. You have to maintain those same habits or things you're doing for yourself. And, you know, also luck is a factor too.
Yeah.
Because if everything seems to just be crumbling around you, how are you going to try to find inner peace? And that's, you know, it's like that.
That's when it becomes like active. That's when it's like
yeah.
a game. That's when you start really putting like the conscious effort into.
I think peace is like, it's kind of a game within yourself. I think as soon as you find that comfort within yourself, and that's peace. You know, you're never gonna have peace within yourself if you have that little voice in your head, you know, that's feeding you all your insecurities, or it's telling yourself that you're not good enough. I think, you know, peace is kind of in a way is shutting off that little voice in your head. Yeah. If you guys know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
you can't be too hard on yourself. You gotta just step down and you just gotta be, like I said, vulnerable. You can't be.
Yes, exactly.
Because remember when you talked to me, I actually sampled this in my album. It was my outro. I love this outro. It was when you were talking about dancing with like going with the motion sometimes. You explain it pretty good.
Yeah, well, first I'll go to Sam's point, the voice in your head.
Yeah.
That's most likely ego. And then when you being vulnerable, that's humility. And so being humble and humbling yourself and deflating your ego helps you realize that you can't take life like this. You can't steer life. You can steer yourself, and that's where the dance comes in, because you're going to get the winds blown at you. You're going to get the obstacles, but you're going to have to find a way to gracefully move around it. And that's when life's a dance, because it's all cycles. We talked about this on
the full
episode
circle
1.
we talked about. Yeah.
I like your point.
A dance has no destination, bro. Like, think about it. You don't go anywhere
It's a
to
flow.
dance.
It's just a flow.
It's just something you're doing. You're playing. You're just playing, you know? And that's the beauty of it, because, yeah, we have goals and our egos have ambitions, not even in a bad connotation, but the dance part comes in, and when you just start making it your own, and you become peaceful with the fact that, hey, you know, I got to deal with these bills, or, you know, work on something else in life, but I can still appreciate the beautiful weather or my friends, or, you know, that's once you have that ability to make life yours, that's when you start dancing.
We also talked about this, Lou, a while ago. It was kind of like lighting a fire up, you know, within you, to just do whatever and just seek any opportunity that's thrown your way. What are some ways, you guys, that fire you up? You know what I'm saying? Like a campfire just burning up, just making its way throughout everything, you know, just like tackling obstacles over and over. It's like a good analogy of this is like going up that sand dune. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like going up that sand dune the first time we went to the dunes, and, you know, we were all just having a fun time. But even though the dune, the sand, the splinters, all it's a terrible, like, walk up there. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, what pushes you guys to keep walking up that mountain? Yeah. And that way, when you get to the top, you're just like, damn, you have peace. It's like going up there that hill, and you see the sunset, you see all the trees,
I like
you
your
see all
analogy.
the leaves,
And
see the beauty of it, you know?
Yeah. I think nothing is handed to anyone. And inner peace has to be worked for. So there's your analogy right there, right? You walk up this tough, it's hot outside, you're going up this sand dune, and you're stepping on all these different things and the twigs and whatnot, and you finally make it to the top, and you're at peace. You take a big deep breath, and wow, I feel I'm at peace, and you just, wow, look at this freaking view.
Yeah,
you know?
It's beautiful.
And then, but you had to go through those adversities. And that's why everything ties in together, because, in my opinion, that's why it's so hard for, you know, majority of the world to find that inner peace, because it takes a you know, lots of obstacles and going through things to truly achieve that.
I think too, with that analogy you used, you have to like use like little you have to like follow, you know, you have to write down simple like little goals, and then I think that's how you kind of like start to ignite that fire. Because I think I feel like the problem people have is they set too large of goals to start with. And on the
podcast,
on
the episode.
No, we didn't.
No.
But like going back to that analogy, like if you know, like say you're starting a campfire, you need little twigs, you know, like pieces of paper to, you know, to start that fire. If you just throw like a huge log in there and use a lighter and try to light it, it's not going to start the fire.
That.
No, exactly.
You gotta wake up, and, you know, maybe you have a goal of making your bed and then making breakfast. You gotta start.
Those are the twigs. Those are the twigs.
Yeah, those are twigs.
Jeez, I've never heard that analogy before.
Good.
That's actually creative.
Stantino, when you're talking about the fire
it
inside, it can go multiple ways. And, you know, we've talked about peace or ambition or whatever. Like, you have a fire inside for your goals, and you want to, like, get shit done, you know, and be productive and achieve your dreams, you know. But then you
Yeah.
can also have a fire inside to like, let me get myself straight, you know. Like it's internal, external. It's like that.
Right.
Like you know, finding happiness, purpose, you know,
Yeah.
meaning, whatever. Like that fire inside, it depends on what you're trying to get, and that's where the intention comes behind. And in the terms of peace, I think that fire inside is just realizing when it's too much. Like we were talking about, like when do you realize, when is it like I have to, you know, figure it out, and whether it's, you know, anxieties or, you know, stresses or things that are, you know, making your life worse than it has to be. You have to have the gratitude to be, literally just like wake up and be like, life's beautiful.
Right.
Even if it's really shitty, even if fortune isn't on your side, you still, because life is always beautiful. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
And you just have to look for it. You just have to see beauty, and that's when it flips and that fire rises. At least for me, I know.
Perspective is
I know
everything.
this has been the beginning of this year. I woke up for fucking beauty, and I was like talking to beauty, bro, and like that's that fire, you know, like the gratitude for literally whatever life can be.
The biggest thing too is, who doesn't like a good story? When it's just when I call me crazy, but no, I mean
Crazy.
no.
You're crazy.
Okay, but
I'm just
anyway,
kidding. Go ahead.
Loco,
Loco.
anyway,
Aiden.
I love a good story. I love a good underdog story. I kind of love when shit hits the fan a little bit, because when shit's hitting the fan, you know you're doing something right. You know you're changing something. If you're kind of just staying in the same little, you know, area all your life,
If it don't scare you, you're not doing it
don't
right.
scare. Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love a good revenge story. I love a good revenge story.
I'm
and
with you on that.
I love
I
it.
like that.
And that's how I find peace, is just kind of coming back and just being stronger than ever.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what creates peace. is
making
just-
life yours, you know.
And at the same time, all you guys said is just with the beauty, appreciating everything, but at the same time, use all that to fuel the fire even more within you, to find that peace and find that just subconscious good thinking.
At the end of the day, we have no control over life. We can't control what's thrown our way. We can't control what we're going to be in a month, a year, you know?
But we can't control
Right
up
now,
here,
today.
as best as we
and,
can.
and that
it's not
mindfulness,
easy,
that
but-
intentionality, it goes the longest way, you know?
It does.
And that's how we start generating peace.
Amen.
You're probably never going to get it, you know? But you can get close to it.
Yeah.
You can start, you know, figuring out where it is, when you have it, what works, what doesn't, you know?
I think, like, all in all, like, you know, what we kind of learned from each other in this conversation is that, like, peace is, you know, a constant battle within ourselves and and around ourselves, you know, and like you said, you know, in battle there is going to be adversity. You're going to face, you know, hardships and adversity, and there's also going to be a lot of good out of battle. So I feel like that's the kind of the best way to wrap up peace and you know,
It's like the most beautiful paradox. Like you're at war with peace.
right.
Right? Right?
I like that. You
That's
War with peace.
should write, you
Right?
should write a book
It's
about
crazy.
that.
right?
And yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
No,
I just
love
thought
it.
of
War
it.
with
I like
peace.
I
that.
like that, yeah. And that,
That's
but it's so
poetry.
true.
That
It's
is
so
That's
true.
poetry.
And we are running short on time here. So if you want to go
Oh, we
ahead
can't
and
run
do the
that.
outro.
Yeah, so that's it. I almost said boys. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. That was awesome.
That was good. I wish we had more time.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camera's
You know.
cutting us off.
but like,
War with the
subscribe,
camera.
tell your mom, tell your dad, and check out
your
the trailer.
cousin.
If you guys didn't see the trailer, we dropped our trailer for season 2. We had fun shooting that, editing that. But yeah,
All right.
All right. Fellas, I'll see you later.
beautiful.
Thank you guys.